All right, let's get right into it. We need to talk about a financial cliff that's honestly been about 40 years in the making. And if you were born after 1960, well, you're the one who's about to feel the impact.
Okay, before we get any deeper, I have to put this up front. Everything we're about to cover is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Think of this as critical information. But please remember, I am not your financial advisor.
So let me just ask you straight up, were you born somewhere between 1960 and 1975? If you're not in your head yes right now, then this message, it's specifically for you, and you're going to want to pay very, very close attention. Because, all those retirement rules you grew up with, the ones your parents probably followed to the letter, they've changed. So let's just call this what it is. This is your official warning. The old playbook is completely obsolete. And this brings us to what we're calling the 1960 retirement cliff. It's been like a slow-motion train wreck, and the full impact is really just about to be felt. This marks the official end of retiring at 65, at least as we once knew it. The one term at the very center of all of this is full retirement age, or FRA. Seriously, this is the single most important number in this entire discussion. It's simply the age the government says you can get 100% of the Social Security benefits you've earned over your lifetime.
The thing is, for decades, the goalposts have been quietly moving. So if you were born back in 1954, your FRA was 66. By 1957, it had crept up to 66 and a half. But here's the key. For everyone born in 1960 or later, and yep, that means you, the full retirement age is now 67, period.
So here's the bottom line, the point you absolutely cannot miss. As of January 1st, 2026, the very idea of getting your full benefits at age 65 is, for your generation, mathematically dead. It is just no longer possible. And this leads us to a really dangerous trap, something we're calling the silent default. This is what happens when people just fall back on old assumptions and decide to claim their benefits at age 62. And the math behind that choice is absolutely devastating. So you're probably asking, why? Why exactly is age 62 the new danger zone for retirement? What makes it this default choice that could silently derail your whole financial future? Well, the answer comes down to two pretty brutal numbers.
Okay, here's the first number. If your full retirement age is 67 and you decide to claim your benefits at the earliest possible moment, at age 62, your monthly check is immediately and permanently slashed by 30%. And when I say permanent, I mean for the rest of your life.
But wait, it actually gets worse. That 30% penalty doesn't exist in a vacuum. We also have to factor in the crippling inflation we've all seen since 2020, which has basically wiped out another 20% of your dollar's purchasing power. Your money just doesn't go as far. Let's put this into perspective so it really sinks in. When you combine that 30% early claiming penalty with the 20% inflation hit, the real value of your check at 62 could be worth nearly half of what your parents got at their full retirement age. It is a staggering generational difference. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, Social Security is hurting, but my 401k, my savings, they'll be fine. And I wish that were true. But unfortunately, that's where this becomes a compounding crisis. Your savings are also at risk. For decades, financial advisors lived by the 4% rule. The idea that you could safely withdraw 4% from your portfolio each year in retirement. Well, that rule is now officially broken. With stocks so high and bonds being so volatile, a 4% withdrawal rate now carries a dangerously high risk of running out of money. And the big reason the old strategies are failing is that the classic 60-40 portfolio of stocks and bonds is no longer a reliable safety net. As the source material puts it, bonds are not hedging stocks, they are moving with stocks. And that changes everything. And this all leads to the ultimate fear in retirement, the risk of ruin. It's just a statistical way of saying the probability that you will outlive your money. A broken withdrawal strategy, combined with a smaller Social Security benefit, dramatically increases this risk for your generation. Okay, I know that was a lot of bad news. And it's a bleak picture, but it is not a hopeless one. So now we pivot to the solution. Let's talk about the new rules for staying solvent and how to generate what the source calls income alpha, which is basically just creating income streams that can outpace inflation. We're going to focus on 3 core strategies that are designed specifically for this new reality, And let me be clear, these are not your parents' retirement rules. These are proactive steps to navigate that 1960 cliff.
So let's unpack these a little. First, dividend aristocrats. These are reputable companies with a proven track record of increasing their dividend payouts for at least 25 years straight. In an inflationary world, you want an income stream that grows, not shrinks. Second, the source suggests considering a small, like 1 to 3% allocation to an asset like Bitcoin as what it calls debasement insurance. The idea here is to hedge against the loss of purchasing power in traditional money. And finally, the most powerful and accessible tool you have, delaying when you claim Social Security.
And this right here is why delaying is so critical. For every single year you delay claiming your benefits past your full retirement age of 67, all the way up to age 70, you get a guaranteed 8% annual increase in your lifetime benefit. You cannot find a guaranteed 8% return anywhere else in today's market. It is, hands down, the best deal in finance.
So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. Knowing about the 30% penalty, the inflation trap, and the broken rules of saving, can you really afford to fall into the silent default at age 62?
And we'll end right where we began. Remember, this has been for educational purposes. Please, use this information as a starting point for a serious conversation with your own qualified financial advisor.